Are Sylhetis genetically different from other Bengalis? This isn't just a simple question. It's a deep dive into history, geography, and the very DNA of a people. The answer reveals that the Sylheti population isn't just a subgroup of Bengalis, but a unique genetic frontier, a bridge between South and Southeast Asia. Their story is written in their genes, a record of openness, adaptation, and resilience, blending indigenous tribes, ancient settlers, and global migrants into one vibrant identity. To get to the heart of Sylheti genetics, we first have to look at the land itself. The Surma Valley, tucked in the northeastern corner of the Bengal Delta, is a special place. For millennia, its unique landscape has been a corridor for human migration. In prehistoric times, when much of the delta was a watery marsh, the slightly higher grounds of Sylhet offered a safe haven. It was both a final stop and a launch pad for migrations moving out of Africa and along the Indian Ocean coast. The region's vast wetland ecosystem, the Howrah Basin, created unique challenges. People had to adapt to an almost amphibious life, which likely favored genetic traits similar to those found in Southeast Asian populations living in similar riverine environments. Unlike people in central India, who were more isolated, the ancestors of the Sylhetis lived right on the edge of the Mongoloid world, in a zone of constant contact with Tibeto-Burman and Austroasiatic-speaking peoples from the surrounding hills. Deep within the Sylheti genome, we find an ancient layer that connects them to the subcontinent's earliest inhabitants. Like nearly all South Asians, they carry the ancient ancestral South Indian, or AASI, lineage from the region's original hunter-gatherers. But what sets Sylhetis apart is their strong link to Austroasiatic peoples, like the Khasis who live in the hills right next door. Genetics and historical linguistics suggest that these Austroasiatic speakers were the first farmers in the region, arriving even before Indo-Aryan groups. This ancient connection ties the Sylheti people to a vast cultural sphere stretching all the way into Southeast Asia. We see evidence of this in the ancient kingdom of Harkela, which stood as a distinct political entity from the 7th century. Harkela maintained its own identity, separate from the empires of central Bengal, allowing a unique cultural and biological character to develop long before the medieval era. Another key factor that makes Sylheti genetics different is a significant infusion of East Asian ancestry, mainly from Tibeto-Burman speakers. If you look at a genetic map of Bengal, you'll see a clear east-west gradient. The amount of East Asian ancestry increases dramatically as you move towards Sylhet and Chittagong, often making up 15 to 25% of the gene pool. This genetic signature is linked to ancient migrations from the Yellow River Basin down through the Brahmaputra Valley. This wasn't a story of conquest, but more likely a peaceful process of assimilation and intermarriage as tribal communities were absorbed into the growing agrarian society. We can see this in specific Y chromosome markers like haplogroup O, which confirms this paternal East Asian link. This biological blend is perfectly mirrored in the Sylheti language itself. It has a two-tone system, which is incredibly rare for an Indo-Aryan language. Linguists believe this is because of the influence of neighboring tonal languages like Kokborok and Ryong. It is a perfect example of how the region's genetics and linguistics tell the same story. The structure is Indo-Aryan, but the melody and the biology are distinctly Eastern. Of course, the Indo-Aryan expansion also played a major role, bringing the ancestral North Indian genetic component, which is related to Central Asians and Europeans. We have records from as early as the 6th century of Indo-Aryan Brahmins settling in Sylhet under the Kamrupa kings of Assam. This migration introduced haplogroup R1a, a genetic marker strongly associated with the spread of Indo-European languages. Interestingly, because ancient Sylhet was often ruled by the kingdom of Kamrupa in Assam, rather than Gaur in Bengal, its high caste genetics developed a unique connection to the Brahmaputra Valley civilization. This period cemented the social structure and linked the region to the broader Vedic world, all while it maintained its unique frontier character. Then came a truly transformative chapter in Sylhet's history, the arrival of Islam. The conquest of Sylhet in 1303 by Hazrat Shah Jalal and his 360 companions was more than just a spiritual turning point. It was a major demographic founder event. Shah Jalal and his followers came from all over Turkestan, Yemen, the Middle East, and they settled in the region, marrying local women. This introduced a direct and verifiable stream of West Asian ancestry into the population. Today, many Sylheti families with surnames like Said, Chowdhury, and Talikdar trace their lineage back to these companions, and it's not just family lore. Genetic data backs it up, showing higher frequencies of West Asian paternal haplogroups like JL4 in these lineages. This male-driven gene flow created a distinct Middle Eastern shift in the Sylheti paternal gene pool, setting it apart from neighboring populations, and embedding a legacy of global Islamic connection directly into the people's biology. This rich biological tapestry is matched by a unique cultural evolution, and there's no better example than the Sylheti Nagari script. This writing system, completely different from the standard Bengali alphabet, was used to write poetry and religious texts. No one is entirely sure of its origins. Some say it was invented by local Muslims for mass education. Others think it came from Afghan rulers or Nagar Brahmins. Whatever its origin, the script became a tool for an alternative kind of literacy popular among women and common folk. It preserved the distinct Sylheti dialect and its cultural stories against the pressure to conform to a standard language. The recent revival of the script and its inclusion in Unicode is a powerful testament to the resilience of this independent cultural identity. The spirit of adventure and mobility encoded in Sylheti DNA is most famously seen in the history of the Lascars. The region's river-based lifestyle created a population of expert boatmen. During the British colonial era, these men transitioned from navigating local rivers to sailing the world's oceans. By World War I, the majority of the over 50,000 Indian Lascars were of Bengali descent, with a huge number coming specifically from Sylhet. This was almost a form of cultural selection for adventure and risk-taking. Entire lineages of men from specific villages would recruit their relatives to travel the world. This traditional global mobility created a massive diaspora, especially in the United Kingdom, turning Sylheti identity into a transnational phenomenon. This lone Doni effect continues the region's ancient tradition of mixing, as the modern Sylheti gene pool now interacts with global populations, adding even more layers to its diversity. So, in conclusion, the science and history are clear. Sylhetis do have a distinct genetic profile. They represent a point of maximum diversity, a population with a kind of hybrid vigor born from the synthesis of ancient hunter-gatherers, Austroasiatic farmers, Tibeto-Burman highlanders, Indo-Aryan settlers, and West Asian migrants. This genetic diversity isn't a sign of division. It's a narrative of resilience and welcome. It tells the story of a land that has always been an open frontier, absorbing newcomers and blending them into a cohesive and dynamic people. The truth about Sylheti origins is a celebration of this synthesis. To be Sylheti is to carry the DNA of the hunter, the farmer, the warrior, and the mystical united in a culture that is as adaptable as it is ancient.